Hello there Pixel Pushers, Sadiq Hussain here with another tutorial on Affinity Photo. This time we're not going to do any of the tools, we'll be doing those, continuing to do those with other videos. We're about halfway through with those, but this time I'm going to do quite a creative but a practical solution to seeing what your images would look like if they were exhibiting in a gallery. If it was a fine art print exhibiting in a gallery, in a bricks and mortar gallery, but of course we could emulate that. What would it be? What would it look like in a mount and a frame, and exhibited with a label on it and so on. So we're going to do that with Affinity Photo. So here's an example that I've already done, and I'll go back and do this again so you can see it, and then we'll be repeating that with these two others, so this one and this one. You'll notice that all three have been converted to black and white in the first place. Now, so this isn't a conversion to black and white tutorial, although I will quickly run through with one of the images, but I won't do all three. I'll leave links to other videos in the description and at the end of the video, so you can look at that should you want to. There's basically three ways in Affinity Photo, three main ways that you can convert an image to black and white quite effectively and very creatively, but like I said, I'll touch on that a bit later. So you got a black frame, say a typical sort of an IKEA frame, nothing fancy, and then we've got a white mount, and of course you can make the mount even bigger than that if you wish, and then at the bottom here we've got a label with a sticker with a label on it. Okay, so again, that's entirely up to you. I actually don't quite like that, the way that looks with a grey background, so we can change that when we redo it. So that's to make it look as if that was on a gallery wall, what would it look like in a frame with a mount? And you know, that looks pretty effective. If I go back to take it back to that's the original image. Okay, and so we did a black and white conversion, various filters on that, and then extended the canvas and then filled that in with white, and then put a border around it which is emulating a frame, and then put the label at the bottom. Okay, so we'll go through each one of those steps as well. Okay, so I'm going to start from there, and then of course we'll do the same with the other images as well, and it'll be exactly the same process, and actually doing several of them in this exact same style will give you an idea of what a small exhibit could look like of your images, should you be lucky enough to be able to get to that point of exhibiting your prints in an actual gallery. But of course you could do it on an online gallery as well, and there's plenty of those. So, okay, these are my photographs, but of course if you don't have anything suitable, or you want to try the stock photography, if you just go to the right hand side next to the layers palette up there, and you've got two stock photography sites, resources built into Affinity Photo, which is great, and you just pick any one of those and you just say click on something like monuments, whatever you're interested in. Find something that's suitable, let's say that one, and of course you can just drag it across and use that one. Okay, but for now I'm going to use these, and I'll put these images, I'll make these images available in a link in the description, so should you want to download one of these images, then you can follow along with one of them and then try on some of your own if you wish. Okay, so black and white conversion first of all. So the three broad ways of doing it, I'm only going to do it with this one video, with this one image, and I'm not going to do the other two because they're already done. Okay, and then we'll go on to the framing and the mount. So with this one, I'm going to show you the three ways. So if you go to adjustment layer, and then we got here black and white adjustment, and pick any one of them, because pick the default one, and then we can fine tune it in how the colors within the image are converted to grayscale. And of course, just by moving the sliders, you can say, oh, right, we can get a bit of detail in the sky, whereas you didn't have it before, make it look a bit moody. And oh, I'm happy with that. Yeah, and you can just either click on merge or just click the X there, and that'll give you an adjustment layer. If I just reset that, the other way you could do it is go back to layers, and then you go to the bottom here, and you go to adjustments. This is exactly the same, and we go to black and white, and it presents with the same box, and of course you could do it from here. Okay, let me just take these adjustment layers out, delete those. So we're back to the color image. The third way, of course, is in filters, and I've got a plugin, the Nik Collection plugin. If anybody wants to know about the Nik Collection or how to install it or which version to get for Windows or for Mac, because it does work with Affinity really well. It's actually a plugin made for Photoshop, but it works in Affinity as well. Okay, so what we want is the Silver Effects Pro 2. Essentially, that's all of black and white conversions, and these can be quite dramatic. So this is an adjustment layer on steroids, if you like. And then on the left hand side, you've got the different types of black and white conversion you can do, and you can maybe just click on one, see what it looks like, and then adjust the sliders over to the right. And there's all sorts down here that you can look at. Okay, now I have tried this before, so I've got a sort of a favorite starting point, and then we can fine tune it after that. So if we start with that one, and again, if we just use the sliders here, so this is a pop-up window over and above the Affinity photo, as this is a plugin. So we're editing in this pop-up window. So I can adjust it like this, make some adjustments, the contrast, maybe to the structure a little bit, which sort of sharpens it, maybe to how the image is going to look, maybe even a film effect, a particular film stock effect. Actually, quite like that one, so let's go for that one. And of course, you can again play with the color sliders, and this allows you to control how the colored pixels in the original image, so for example all the yellow pixels, or the pixels that have got a yellow in them at some point, and how do they convert to grayscale. Okay, so again, I could tweak the sky a little bit. Okay, and you've even got a levels and curves adjustment, so if you wanted to make some adjustments. So let's see. You can see actually on my mirror, or maybe on the sensor, there's lots of spots there. Can you see those circles? And of course we can remove those later on. So click OK, and that is converting it to black and white. So you take the black and white conversion, take your time over that. I've just done it quickly, and I am going to just show you, if I just zoom in, those aberrations. Best way to deal with those is to use the in-painting brush, and just change the size of the brush so it's about twice the size of your blemish, and then literally you go through and paint out those blemishes, and it works pretty well. So clearly you would just go through and do all of those. I'm not going to do all of them now because it's going to take away from the time we want on this video, but I'll just show you very quickly what can be done. Now this you can see, because this is emulating, the filter is emulating a film, an old film stock. Its image looks quite grainy, but again, that's just a personal choice. Do you like the look of it? If you do, great. If you don't, apply a different filter. Okay. Oops, sorry. Shouldn't have done that. I didn't press the key in time, did I? The space key. we'll just do a couple more of these in painting options. There we go. There we go. There we go. This is very easy. Again, change the size of your brush each time. One, to make it more random, but also it makes the in-painting brush more effective depending on the size of the blemish and the size of the brush in relation to the blemish. Okay, so that's blemishes removed. Now, what I'm going to do is extend the canvas. Again, there are videos on the site showing you how to extend a canvas in a bit more detail, but let's just do it fairly quickly here. First of all, we go to Document, Resize Canvas, put the anchor point in the middle because we can extend it equally all the way around, top, bottom, left, right, and then unclick the unlock the padlock, because the image is not square, and therefore the aspect ratio we want to maintain, but we want to add the same number of pixels to each side of the border, okay, which is what a mount would be. So I've worked this out before, so I'm going to add actually a whole 1,000 pixels to the width and a whole 1,000 pixels extra to the height. So that would mean 500 pixels this side, 500 this side, 500 at the top, 500 at the bottom. Okay, click resize, and there we go. So it's an equal 500 pixels extra. You could add more to it, of course, around each side of that, around the border. Now we want to select that area because we want to fill it with a color. And the quickest way to do it, again, select alpha range, select partially transparent. That means all the pixels that are transparent and partially transparent as well. Because if you look right at the edge, if there's a pixel right on the edge and it isn't quite fully transparent or fully opaque, it will select that as well. Once it's selected, we don't want to rely on the fact that that's gone right to the edge. You do want to make sure, just by going to select and then grow and shrink the selection, and then in this dialog box just put in 1 or 2 pixels, click apply, and then that's extended it by 2 pixels. You can see now that the dotted line has come down 2 pixels in. You can see it clearly there. So there's a little bit of an overlap. So within that, we're going to fill with white. So we go to edit and we go to matte. Don't click on in paint, because in painting will fill in these pixels where there's no pixels with samples from the image, and that's a different exercise. What we want to do is to click on matte, and that'll do it fairly quickly. It does allow you to actually choose what color. It's filled it in with white because that's a white mount, but you might want a cream mount or a gray mount. Let's actually do a cream mount. Okay, so let's just we'll do a cream mount on this one, so slightly off white. Okay, click apply, and then you've still got the selection, so you just press the escape key or go to select and deselect, and that's that selection gone. So we've got a nice mount around it. Okay, now what we want to do is put a frame on it, and a quick way to emulate a black or a white frame is go to effects. We've used this technique before to create a border, but this time we're using it to create a frame. So we go to effects and we go to outline. Just pull this out by clicking on the gear icons. Okay, so you've got a better view of the variables. We increase the radius, put it on the inside, so it's on the inside of the frame, if you like, not the outside. Increase it. We want it to be black. You could have it white. Typically IKEA frames are black or white. Those are the most popular ones. Now you can see that frame just isn't very big, or I don't think it's very big, and yet I've taken the slider right to 100 pixels. But if that's not big enough, because it depends on the resolution of your image, just type over, if I put in 230, 230 pixels. Okay, let's just highlight that again. 230. If it gives you that sort of red, it means that you've made an error. So just highlight it again and put in a figure, and then do it again. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a frame, black frame, a cream mount, and your image inside of it, which has been a black and white conversion. Okay, and that's pretty much it finished. But let's just put a label on it, and we'll put the label on the actual mount itself. So zoom in. To do the label, quick ways: go to the shape tool, use the rectangle shape, click and drag loosely where you want it, and if you go to the context menu at the top for the shape, the fill is white, the stroke around it is black, and the stroke thickness is 7 points. And if that's what you want, fine. If you want to change it, just click on the fill, and maybe you want to make that a bit. Actually, I don't want it to be. So let's give it a slight grey colour, and then the stroke, I want it to be black, but I don't want it to be that thick. So let's just change the thickness, bring it down to say 4 pixels, and also I don't want the corners to be a square, to 90 degrees. So change the corner, and I want it to be rounded. Okay, and you can change the percentage of the rounded. You can have it more of a lozenge shape, or you can have it just very subtly rounded. That's fine. And if I just click on that, you can see that it's rounded. That's fine. Now we want to center it, so click on the move tool, and to center it, you just click. Once you've clicked on the move tool, the that's it. So just find the center point with the guide. Make sure that your a magnetic snapping tool is enabled, and it snaps to the center. Okay, now we want to put some text in it. Zoom in, click on the text tool. Make sure that you've got the artistic text tool, not the frame text tool, selected. Okay, the frame text tool is more about large bodies of text for when you're doing a paragraph or two or more, and just type in, just click and drag to change the size of it. And if I just put in a title, nothing earth-shattering there. Click on highlight the text by triple clicking, or click and drag, and just change the font and the style. And I'm just going to put it as script, and I'm going to I'm not going to change the size here. I can just click and drag and change the size that way, and then click on the move tool, and then move it and position it. Again, can you see, because it's in, that text is inside of the shape, the rectangle, it automatically detects that you must want it in the center of that. I mean, I could put it anywhere, and then it will give me different guidelines to snap to. So that's where I want it. So it's automatically aligned. If I go back to the layers palette, if I want to combine those two together now that they're centered, I just highlight both of them, both layers, by using the command key or the control key on a Windows machine, and then right click and group them. And once they're grouped, they're together now, so that now when I click on the move, they'll move together, they will resize together, and you don't have to worry about lining them up each time. Okay, so that's that done. Oops, sorry, wrong key. Okay, so that's the first one. And then you do exactly the same for the others, of course. And now I don't need to do the black and white conversion. So let's just go through the canvas. So we go to Document and Resize Canvas. Exact same, center anchor point. Unlock the padlock. Change it to add 1,000 pixels, exactly the same, because I want these to sit sort of together in a virtual exhibit, if you like. I've got my template for the border. I go to select, and alpha range, partially transparent is what you want. It works better if you use that option. And then we want to extend it by select, grow and shrink, and we'll just put in 1 pixel this time. Okay, and we just go to edit, matte, and I'll leave it at white this time, and then deselect by going to select and deselect. That's that done. Then we go to effects, outline. This is for the frame, and we'll increase the radius again. We want it on the inside. We want it to be black. 100 pixels clearly isn't enough, so if I'll put in 300 pixels. Okay, it's probably a bit too much, but I'll leave it at that. No, that's definitely not right. Doesn't look right. The mount really needs to be bigger than the frame. So let me just bring that down to, I'll change it to 250. That's better. Okay. There we go. So that's that one done. I'm not going to put a label on this one because I want to keep the video reasonably short. And then on to the last one. And this is a black and white conversion as well. Okay. Oh, what's happening to that image? Okay, we won't use that one then. Let's use this one. So I've already put a border around this one. This was one I converted before. This is a low resolution image. So if I just extend that canvas again, same principle. I go to a document, Resize Canvas, center anchor point, unlock padlock. You can see it's a much smaller file. So if I just add 200 pixels there, oops, 200 pixels there, and 200 pixels there, and resize it. That's quite a large area. It already had a white border, so I'm just going to extend it with another white border. So it'll become a white border, white mount, but we're filling in the extended canvas. And so if we go to select and alpha range, partially transparent again, once you've done this a couple of times, it will become second nature. And then select and grow and shrink. And we definitely only want 1 pixel because it's a low resolution image. We don't want more than 1. And we go to edit and matte, and bang, that's that done. Okay, and then deselect from the select menu. And if I zoom in there, there's no difference between the first border and the second border. And again, to put the frame around it, go to effects, and we go to outline, and we want black. We want it on the inside of the document, and we want to, as I see now, 100 pixels is actually too much because it's a low resolution image. So actually probably 50 pixels is probably enough. Yeah, I think 50 pixels is fine. So I'm actually going to type that in. There we go. So that's very quickly showing you how we can add borders and a mount by extending the canvas and using the effects on your layer, the effects panel there. Okay, and of course these then can be, once you've put labels on them, these could be part of an exhibit. And of course, if you have a website, then go on the website. But if you want to do it with third-party virtual exhibits, these are then ready-made, and you can just resize them according to their requirements and then submit them, and then they will be part of your virtual gallery. And if anybody wants any hints and tips about the types of virtual galleries that you might well be able to explore for your own images and your own prints, virtual prints, then do let me know in the comments and I can cover that separately. But then if there's sufficient interest and sufficient success with a virtual exhibit, of course you might well be invited by a real bricks and mortar gallery to exhibit your images, which of course then is a whole new ball game. You'd want to get high quality prints made, or print them with a really high quality printer, and then frame those professionally and get them exhibited, and they would look obviously $1 million, and you might even sell some prints at some really good prices. So my particular favorite is this one. I would change the cream mount actually to back to white again, because I actually think it works better. I would make the label a little bit classier, but of course that's something that you would do in your own time. But that's the technique. I hope you found that enjoyable and interesting and informative. If you did, do leave me some comments and some likes and some and of course if you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, because that really helps the channel. It helps me, gives me encouragement to do more and to respond to what viewers are interested in. So any feedback would be greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. Thanks for your attention and your valuable time. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you again next time.